Hey, it's Mandy and Jeff Rose from Marriage More, and today we are going to be talking to you about the love languages.
The love languages. I love talking about love languages.
Jeff's favorite thing ever. But a couple of years ago, we discovered this thing called the love languages, and it is something that has dramatically changed the way that we love each other. And so maybe you are listening, maybe you're watching, and you've never heard of the love languages, but it is a book by Gary Chapman.
Thanks, Gary.
And it is something that we encourage all couples to read and to really live by. And so we're excited today to share just a little bit more with you about how the love languages have changed our marriage. The good thing about the love languages is that it's not only a book, but you can actually get on their website and they have a quiz that you can take. It's literally a 10-minute quiz, and you can take the quiz and you can find out what your love language is. So Jeff and I have both taken that quiz, and we both know what our love languages are. And so let's talk about what the actual 5 love languages are. So number 1 is acts of service. Number 2 is words of affirmation.
Number 3, which is my all-time favorite, physical touch. Maybe later. Number 4, spending quality time. And the 5th one is receiving gifts. So let's look at acts of service.
Woohoo! Acts of service. That is my love language, right?
It is. I think you scored like an 8 or 9 or 10.
I could care less about anything else in this world. I just feel loved by acts of service. Like if you put the laundry away, if you clean out the dishwasher, if you take the kids for a walk and give me like time to take a hot bath, like I just love acts of service. And so what we realized when we took this quiz and realizing that my love language is acts of service is Jeff has been spending his entire life our entire marriage trying to love me with physical touch, because physical touch, guess what, is Jeff's love language.
We'll get to that here in a second.
We'll get to that in a second, but I scored very low on physical touch. So physical touch for me wasn't something that it's not how I feel loved, which is kind of strange because you would think hugging, kissing, holding hands is a pretty normal way to show affection and feel love. But for me personally, that's not how I feel love. So I really love acts of service. I scored very high on that. And so finally, after we realized, hey, you're doing all of this physical touch, it's really not working. When he started taking the trash out and doing all of that kind of stuff.
Putting gas in her car.
Oh yes, putting gas in my car. It really is the way that I feel loved.
It is. So the second thing is words of affirmation. And I think we both scored high on this one, where we just like to be praised and we like to be recognized when we're doing something right. We like to be loved. We like to be told that we're being loved. So this is important. So we like to ask, and when's the last time that you told your spouse that you appreciate them for taking out the trash, for going to work, for earning a paycheck, for putting the kids to bed? When's that last time that you let them know that you appreciate what you're doing for them? And that's just one simple way that you can use words of affirmation to affirm them.
And then the next thing I would say, we'll talk about yours. You want to go to physical touch?
Yes, please, finally.
Should we hug it out?
Why not? Yay!
Okay. Jeff scored down.
We're done?
No, we're done.
Dang it.
Jeff scored the highest on physical touch, which is not surprising. But it is something that you do need to realize about your spouse is that, hey, maybe if they're they really like to be hugged, or they want you to hold their hand, or just that come home from work and give them a kiss. It doesn't have to be sex, you guys. Physical touch isn't always sex. And so I finally realized that with Jeff is that, it's not always about that. It's about he just likes that connected feeling of hugging, doing the 7-second hug that we talk about in our love habits, or just the peck or the kiss. And so he is a physical toucher. Maybe you or your spouse is a physical toucher. There's lots of easy ways to implement that one.
So one of my favorite things, though, just talking about physical touch, is when we go to bed. So Mandy is such a low physical touch person that she likes her space in the bed, where I am like, come here, babe, we need to hug it out.
There's a line.
Let's cuddle, let's snuggle. So kind of a joke that we have now is when I do that, I'm always like, physical touch, physical touch.
And then I'm reminded.
Yes. So you can have a lot of fun with it.
Okay, so let's talk about the next one, which would be quality time. And this one, I think we both were just we didn't really score kind of average on the quality time one. But quality time just means that you like to spend time together or spend time going on a date or just the two of you. And so maybe that's the way you feel loved, is whenever your spouse takes the time out of their day to take you to lunch, to take you to dinner, to go on a walk. Maybe it's just you go on an after work walk. But quality time is something that both of us, we're kind of, I don't know, are you a quality timer?
I mean, I love like to be able to go on a walk and whatnot, but I think also too that I recognize that we also need time apart.
Yeah.
So I think, having that quality time, not just with our spouse, but with our friends, and so that we can just, not always be together, which I love being with her, but I think it also works both ways.
And the fun thing about quality time, or even the love languages in general, is that we've realized that our children, what their love languages are. And so we do have one of our children who loves quality time. And so it's just interesting to learn all of the different ways that people feel loved.
Okay, the fifth and final one is receiving gifts. And I think this is one that we both scored rather low on, just where we don't need to get gifts from each other. I mean, we like to get cards, and like the thought that counts definitely, carries some weight, but we don't need to get some extravagant gift and some amazing thing that's going to make us love our spouse that much more.
And I think the part about this that neither one of us realized before the love languages quiz is that, we would always, for birthdays and holidays and anniversaries, and we were always getting each other gifts, and we were like, oh, thank you. I mean, don't get us wrong, we were grateful and thankful, but we weren't, it wasn't filling our love tank. And so we finally realized, okay, I get it. I'm really low on receiving gifts. That's just not how I feel loved. And so, you know what, for our anniversary, I would rather you do some kind of act of service, like the gas in the car times 10, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, and I'm all about the physical touch, so.
Given.
So those are the 5 love languages. As Mandy mentioned, you can find out what your love language is really, really quick by going to the website, doing that quick quiz, and you'll find out. And you might know some of it, but I will say that we were surprised. I knew that physical touch wasn't one of her main things, but I was so surprised on how low that it is. But now I can recognize what she needs, how she needs to be loved. And that, once again, as we said at the beginning of this video, that has changed how we approach our marriage on a daily basis.
I think the important thing to remember is that maybe you've spent your entire marriage loving each other the way that you think your spouse needs to be loved, but you haven't actually realized, hey, is this how they need to be loved? Is this how they feel loved? And so by taking the quiz and by understanding what your spouse's love language is, it makes you realize, hey, wait, like I've been trying to love you with acts of service forever. Like I will do things for him, and I don't understand why he doesn't think, like why he's not like, oh, babe, thank you. And now I realize it's because those things don't matter to him. Like he doesn't care if the house is picked up. He just wants me to, give him a kiss on the cheek when he comes home from work, or he wants me to grab his hand while we're walking and hold his hand. And so understanding and realizing how does your spouse need to be loved has really made a huge impact in the way that we live and the way that our marriage has taken a turn for the better.
That's right. So if you're curious what your love languages is, once again, head on over to the website. And we're curious, when you find out, share it with us. Head on over to marriagemore.com and let us know what your love language is, what you were surprised by, and how your spouse wants to be loved.